The Fourth Stall, Chapter 26. After driving in silence for a few minutes, Staples took out his phone. Yeah, PJ, I need you to meet me out at the yard. We've got something to take care of. I heard PJ's muffled reply, but couldn't make out the words. I don't care who's over at your house. This is more important than any girl, you idiot. Now get the other three and get out here. I couldn't be sure, but behind it all, I thought I heard uncertainty or maybe even fear in Staples' voice. So we were going to the yard. The yard is this vacant dirt lot a few miles out of town where teenagers go to scare themselves to death on Halloween and drink themselves passed out on other Saturday nights. Vince's brother had told us about it. It's full of junk and weeds and old cars, and nobody cares enough about it to ever go out there and clean up. As far as I know, nobody even knows who owns the land. Rumor was that they were going to build a bunch of houses out there, but had to stop because the land is supposedly haunted. I guess that I guess when they started digging up the land, a bunch of bad stuff happened, like the machines stopped working and it rained a lot. But it rained only out in the yard and nowhere else. And supposedly accidents kept happening and the workers were getting hurt and hearing voices and stuff. I never did believe those stories. Still, you couldn't have paid me to go out to the yard alone in the middle of the night. I did think it was fitting that I would probably end up haunting the place myself pretty soon. It was partially my fault. This was the business I'd chosen, but I wasn't ready to give up. But I wasn't ready to just give up, not by a long shot. I shifted in my seat. Don't try anything, Staples said. Stop moving so much. After a few more minutes, he turned the car onto a gravel road. Then, after about 100 feet, he turned into a massive dirt lot. There was garbage littered all around, and a few abandoned cars rested under some trees on the far side of the dirt clearing. We were at the yard. It looked just like I'd heard, a stretch of land that had been leveled for construction years ago, and then was just abandoned overnight. Maybe those ghost rumors weren't just rumors after all. Staples got out of the car. He opened my door, pulled me out, and dragged me across the yard. Hot dirt by my foot. Across the hard, hot dirt by my foot. He stopped about 30 feet away from the car and dropped my leg. I was pretty sure my back had gotten all scratched up, but I was so scared I barely noticed. What do you have to say now, Christian? He smirked. Nice car, I said, figuring that going out as a smart mouth wouldn't be much cooler than as a whimpering crybaby. Staples didn't get mad, though. Instead, he laughed as he sat down in an old tire. I was just starting to realize that he laughed a lot. We waited in silence for a while. I sat on the ground and squinted up at some clouds. Maybe he wouldn't kill me after all. I mean, that would be pretty ridiculous. Then again, what else could happen? One thing was sure, I was on my own. None of my crew knew where I was, and I had no way to tell them. Even if they did call the cops, they'd never find us out here. Eventually, PJ's black Honda came crackling into the yard. PJ and the other three high school kids climbed out and walked over to us. Gee, Staples, what is this? PJ said, sounding a little annoyed and shocked. I've caught us a little troublemaker. He tried to blackmail me, and now we're going to make him pay, Staples said. You kidnapped a little kid? Said one of the teenagers, laughing, but he didn't really sound all that amused. Staples shrugged. What are you going to do with him? PJ asked. You mean, what are we going to do with him, right? Staples asked, with a glare so dark that his eyes were like two black holes. Yeah, sure, whatever, PJ said, sounding nervous. Are you going soft on me, PJ? Staples asked. Huh? You had no problem beating him up after he kicked you. Am I supposed to just sit here and do nothing when he goes after me? Is that how it is? You know what's in this for me? I can't let him do that. I wondered what Staples had meant by that. What didn't I know about his business that was so important to him? Staples stood up and walked over to PJ. I thought he was going to punch him, and I think PJ did too, because he flinched, but Staples just slapped him across the back like they were old friends. Come on, man, Staples said with a big grin. You're still in this with me, right? PJ hesitated. I couldn't really see from my angle, but I think Staples gave him a look that pleaded for agreement. Staples had usually seemed so in control, but now he was acting almost desperate. Yeah, you're right, PJ finally said. All right, that's my boy, Staples said, punching his arm. PJ winced in pain. Just remember who pays for your car's upgrades and your girlfriend's necklaces and stuff, right? PJ nodded and tried to laugh. Staples turned to face me. He was smiling. I guess it's about that time, Christian, he said, walking over to me. What do you say we get this show on the road? Actually, I could stand to wait a little bit, I said. He laughed, then he said, Oh, Christian, I really did like you, you know. You're a funny kid. We maybe could have even been friends. He loomed over me, looking like the devil himself. I think he was waiting for me to say something else. I just looked up at him with the meanest glare I could manage. No last words, just a nasty look, he said. I stayed silent. Okay, then, suit yourself, he said as he cracked his knuckles. It sounded like bones scraping. I winced as he cracked each finger one by one. I didn't really like where this whole thing was headed.